نعم. إن الحمد لله نعمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وبعد، فإن خير كلام كلام الله، وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، فإن كل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. اللهم أجرني وإياكم من عذاب النار. اللهم فاتر السماوات والأرض، عالم الغيب والشهادة، أنت تحكم بين عبادك فيما كانوا يختلفون. اهدني لما اختلف فيه من الحق، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراطك المستقيم. Alhamdulillah, we give all praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, the protector, who had made it possible for us to be here in this wonderful workshop, learning and reading through the book titled as Kitabu al-Arba'in fi Madhhab al-Salaf, written by Al-Sheikh Al-Imam Ali ibn Yahya Al-Haddadi, Hafizahullah Ta'ala. The book is 40 hadiths regarding the madhhab of the Salaf. The madhhab of the Salaf. 40 hadiths regarding the madhhab of the Salaf. And inshallah, with you today is your brother Abu Abdurrahman Nasir ibn Tahir ibn Muhammad al-Idawi. And inshallah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rabbul Izzah to make this workshop a successful one. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us ikhlas fi niyyah wa fil qawl wal amal bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. So without wasting much of our time, inshallah, we are moving straight to the introduction to this wonderful class. And inshallah, we'll start explaining from the name of the book, Kitab al-Arba'in fi Madhhab al-Salaf. And inshallah, if you can look into the name of the book very well, you see Kitab al-Arba'in. Al-Arba'in wa Madhhab, and then you see what? As-Salaf. These are the key points we shall be discussing. And inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rabbul Izzah wish, we go into the text of the book, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Naam, we will be looking into the name of the book, Al-Arba'in. Al-Arba'in, Al-Arba'in. We've read a lot of books, we've read through a lot of books written, and they are named Al-Arba'in. Most especially, the popular one among them is the book of Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and it's popularly known as Al-Arba'un Hadith within the Tullab al-Ilm and within the general populace of the Muslim. Though the name of the book is Al-Arba'un fi Mabani al-Islam wa Qawaid al-Ahkam of Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah. So inshallah, we will be looking into the Kutub Al-Arba'inat Al-Hadithiyya. Kutub Al-Arba'inat Al-Hadithiyya. That is, we'll be looking into the names or books of hadith that are named as Arba'un in the history of Islam. And first and foremost, we'll start explaining the word Al-Arba'in or Arba'un. Al-Arba'un in Lugha is Adadu Ma'ruf. It's no number. That is number that is 40. Al-Arba'un means what? 40. Linguistically, Al-Arba'un means what? 40. That is هو 4 عشرات. 4 عشرات. That is 10, 10, 10 in 4 places. When you have 10 in 4 places, it means what? That is Arba'un. That is Lughatan, within the linguistic aspect of knowledge, that is among the Lughawiyin. Al-Arba'un means what? Arba wa asharat. 10, 10 in 4 places is Al-Arba'un, that is 40. Coming into the istilah, that is the technical meaning of Al-Arba'un. Among the scholars of Hadith, it means أجزاء الحديثية جمع فيها مؤلفها 40 حديثا من حديث نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Al-Arba'un, in the technicality of the scholars of Hadith, simply means أجزاء الحديثية, that is part of Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, that has been compiled together by the author, and it contains 40 Hadith of the Prophet, or 40 and above, but not up to 50 Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the name is 40 Hadith. It doesn't mean that it should be 40 accurately. It can be 41, 42, 43. Just the way Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah and Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah ta'ala have explained in some of their books. Now, so after looking into the meaning of Al-Arba'un, Lughatan, it means what? Arba wa asharat. 10, 10 in 4 places. It means what? 40. And the Istilah means what? In the part of the ulama of Hadith, it means Ajza'ul Hadithiyya. That is part of Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that has been compiled together by an author, and the Hadiths are up to 40 Hadiths of the Prophet, or 41, 42, 43, but not up to 50 Hadiths. Now, then after looking into this, then we'll move further to look into the Aslu. That is the Aslu Tasnif al-Arba'inat. Now we know the Hadith al-Arba'inat means the Hadith that can be translated as 40 Hadith, 40 Hadith. All those books of Hadith we've seen, and their name is 40 Hadith in this, 40 Hadith in that, just the way this book is. That is Kitab Arba'in fi Madhhab Salaf. Now, and other books of Hadith is there, like the Arba'un al-Nawawi fi Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and I've mentioned the name earlier. The name is Al-Arba'un fi Mabani al-Islam wa Qawaid al-Ahkam. Now, all these books are called Al-Arba'inat. That is, they are 40 Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, we want to look into the Aslu, that is, the origin, how it came into existence, and why scholars of Hadith start writing books of Arba'inat. Now, it was mentioned among the ulama rahimahumullah, many from among the ulama rahimahumullah, they relied on the Hadith Arba'inat on some certain issues. That is, the written, why they started writing books of Arba'inat was basically on some certain issues of Islam. And from among these things, number one of it is one of the Hadith. And this Hadith is da'if. The ulama rahimahullah said the Hadith is da'if. So, all those scholars who wrote books of Arba'inat, most of them, or some of them, rely on this Hadith. That is, this is the source of evidences for them to write the book of Hadith of 40 Hadith of the Prophet, containing the 40 Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. اعتقد كثير من العلماء في تصنيف أربعينات على أمور. Yeah, this is the scholars. Many among the scholars, they relied on writing the book of Arba'inat on some certain issues. And what are those issues? Number one of them is one of these Hadith, and this Hadith is da'if, is weak. The Hadith is what? Is weak. The Hadith is weak. The Hadith is not authentic. The Hadith is not authentic. The Hadith says, من حفظ على أمة 40 حديثا في أمر دينها بعث الله فكيها وكنت له يوم القيامة شافعا وشهيدا. The Hadith says that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, من حفظ على أمة 40 حديثا, whosoever preserve على أمتي, upon my ummah, whosoever preserved for my ummah, that is my generation, 40 hadithan, that is 40 hadith, whosoever preserve 40 hadith في أمر دينها, regarding the deen of Islam, بعث الله فكيها, on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect him as a faqih. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect him on the day of judgment among the zumara of the fuqaha. That is going to be among the group of the fuqaha. وَكُنْتُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ شَافِعًا, and also I'm going to intercede for him on the day of judgment. وشهيدا, and I'm going to be a source of evidence for him. But the scholars of hadith say this hadith is da'if. That is what is da'if, is not authentic. And number two, from what the scholars who wrote al-arba'inat relied on is this, and that is what Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala chose in his muqaddimah edit to al-arba'un fi mabani al-islam wa qawaid al-ahkam. That is the arba'un al-nawawiyah. It shows the asl al-amr, that is the main reason why he authored the book of arba'un is للتبليغ السنة. It's for him to what? It's for him to propagate the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's for him to what? To propagate the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And he quoted one of the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that when the Prophet said, لِيُبَلِّغْ الشَّاهِدْ مِنْكُمْ الْغَائِبِ, that is, for those present among you, who want to propagate, they are supposed to want to propagate this message to those who are absent. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah said, I'm not relying my book. The main reason why I wrote this Arba'un is not on the first hadith, because that hadith is da'if. So my main reason for writing the book of Arba'un is because of the saying of the Prophet Muhammad that says what? لِيُبَلِّغَ الشَّاهِدْ مِنْكُمْ الْغَائِبِ, for those who are present among you, to propagate the message to those who are absent. He said, I'm propagating the message of the Prophet. I'm propagating the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to those who are not present. That is my own main source of evidence that I rely on before writing my book of hadith on the Arba'un al-Nawawi rahimahullah. That is the book of Al-Arba'un he authored. So these are the two things clearly from the main or the fundamental reason why scholars wrote books on Arba'un. So the first evidence they were using was da'if. It's not authentic at all. The hadith is what is da'if. Why Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah issues the second source of evidence and the hadith is authentic. You can see it in the muqaddimah I did to Al-Arba'un al-Nawawi. Now, after looking into this, then we are going to look into Nashatu Ta'lifi fi Arba'inat. Now, how does it start? The writing of Arba'un, when and why? Who started it? Who started this? Who was the first person who wrote book on Arba'un? We will be looking into this inshallah. The first person who wrote book of Arba'un, it was first written in the second generation. It was first written in the second generation after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. The first person who wrote it was Imam Ibn Mubarak. The first person was Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah Ibn Mubarak al-Marwazi. The first person to author a book on Arba'un Hadith, Arba'un Hadithan. The first person to author this type of book, his name is Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah Ibn Mubarak al-Marwazi, rahimahullah ta'ala. A lot of people wrote after him. After he has documented his own Arba'un, a lot, kasirun min al-ulama, many from among the scholars, after him, they came up and they authored their own book of Arba'un as well. So all this are book of Arba'inat. It was the first person, Imam Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah ibn Mubarak al-Marwazi. He was the first person to author a book of Arba'un. Then after then, a lot of people after him, they wrote many books on Arba'un. From among them is Muhammad ibn Aslam, and another person among them is Ibrahim ibn Ali. And also we have Imam Al-Hasan ibn Sufyan al-Nasawi, and also Abu Bakr al-Ajari, and also we have Abu al-Hasan al-Darqutni, and also we have Abu Abdullah al-Hakim. These are scholars of hadith who wrote book of Arba'un. And also Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned, he said, وَقَدْ صَنَّفَ الْعُلَمَاء في هذا الباب لا يحصى من المصنفات. That is, من المصنفات. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala said, he said, وَقَدْ صَنَّفَ الْعُلَمَاء في هذا الباب. He said, a lot of scholars have written books on Arba'un. That is, regarding Arba'un, a lot of scholars have written books. Some of those books are not even apparent and they are not known to us. So from among them he mentioned some of them. And say from among these scholars are Ibn Asakir, Ibn Asakir wrote book on Arba'un. And also Imam Ibn Mufaddil al-Maqdisi, he also wrote books on this. And also Muhibb al-Tabari, al-Muhibb al-Tabari, he also wrote book on Arba'un. Even Imam al-Zahabi and also Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, rahimahumullah. These are scholars who wrote book on al-Arba'un. So this is that this book was not the first book to be written on Arba'un. A lot of scholars have written books on Arba'un. So here with us is a book called Kitab Arba'in fi Madhhab Salaf. That is, this book is basically teaching us the mazhab, that is the methodology and the path of the righteous predecessors. Now, then after learning this, then we are looking into one of the technical ways, which is as-salaf. As-salaf, and basically we know as-salafiyya. As-salaf, who are the salaf? Salaf means those who came before us. Lughatan, salaf can be translated as what? The predecessor. The predecessor. And the opposite of predecessor is what? The khalaf, who are the successor. You get it? Now, the salaf are the predecessors. The sahaba, and those who came after the sahaba. And they practice this deen upon the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we'll be looking into the word as-salafiyya. Now what is salafiyya? Salafiyya simply means what? Ismun. It's just a name. Limanhaj. It's just a name to a methodology or a path. يدعو إلى فهم القرآن والسنة النبوية. This path is calling only to the understand of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam بفهم سلف الأمة, in accordance with understanding of the pious and righteous predecessor. Among them is the Sahaba. So whenever we talk about the deen, ad-deen is what? قال الله قال الرسول وقال الصحابة أولو العرفان. So whenever we talk about the deen is what? قال Allah, Allah said, وقال الرسول, the Prophet said, وقال الصحابة, and the Sahaba said. The Sahaba, they are the Salaf. So this book here is teaching us the path, the methodology of the Salaf. It's teaching us the path and the methodology of the Salaf, rahimahumullah. Now, so inshallah, without wasting much of our time, not to waste much time, we'll be moving into the first hadith in the book. We'll be moving into the first hadith. Now, inshallah, I'll share it on the screen shortly. Now, the first hadith is hadith Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. The hadith says, the hadith is tied to sincerity of intention. Sincerity of intention. Yeah, this hadith is going to teach us how to have sincerity in our intention, inshallah. And bi'awnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are going to explain this hadith to the best of our ability, inshallah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide our tongue to speak the truth upon haqq. Now, the hadith is as follows. عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إنما الأعمال بنية وإنما الأعمال بنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. رواه Bukhari and Muslim. This hadith is reported by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim rahimahumullah. In almost every kutub of hadith, and kutub of fiqh, the scholars rahimahumullah will start their book with this hadith, the hadith of إنما الأعمال بنية. نعم إنما الأعمال بنية. The translation of the hadith is as follows. The translation of the hadith is as follows. On the authority of Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I heard the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, indeed action are by intention, and indeed every person will receive what he intended. So whosoever's migration was for Allah and His Messenger, then indeed his migration was for Allah and His Messenger. And whosoever's migration was for a worldly gain or for a marriage of a woman, then his migration was for that which he migrated for. The hadith says what? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّةٍ. That is, in some narration is what? Biniyya. Why some narration is what? Biniyat. That is, all action are judged according to intention. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. And whatsoever you've intended, that is what you are going to have. Whatsoever you intended, that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you. فَمَنْ كَانَتْ إِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Whosoever migrates for the sake of Allah and for the sake of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, فَإِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Indeed, that hijrah, that migration indeed is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and is for the sake of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَنْ كَانَتْ إِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى دُنْيَا. And whosoever migrates from Mecca to Medina because of the dunya, because of the worldly things he want to achieve, Wallahi, the Prophet said what? فَإِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا أَوْ امْرَأَةٍ يَنْكِحُهَا. Or because of a woman he want to seek in marriage, فَحِجْرَةُ إِلَى مَا هَجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. That person will have what he migrated for. That is for the nikah and for the dunya. He has nothing except of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we'll be moving into the full explanation of this hadith. We'll be looking into what the full explanation of this hadith. First and foremost, from among the fawahid, that is the benefit we need to have from this hadith, is as follows. One of it is the ulama rahimahumullah, they said, أن المدار الدين على حديثين. That is, the building of Islam, that is, the main source of Islam is upon two hadiths. The source of Islam is what? Is upon two hadiths. The foundation of Islam is upon what? Two hadiths. What and what? One of the hadiths is the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab. The first hadith we are reading. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّاتٍ. The ulama says so, that this is number one hadith that the deen is built upon. That is, all action are judged according to intention. Now, number two hadith is the hadith of Nana Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. She reported from the Prophet when the Prophet said, "Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fa huwa radd." Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fa huwa radd. Whosoever act upon an action of which is not among our own situation or our own way of life, fa huwa radd. That act is going to be what? Rejected. So this is that whosoever innovated anything to the deen, that which he innovated will be rejected back to him. So these are the two things that the deen is built upon. Why? And let's look into the benefits we need to have why these two hadiths are the main source of the building of Islam. And one of it is the first hadith is teaching us sincerity and ikhlas in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّةٍ. This hadith is teaching what? Is teaching al-ikhlas lillah. It's teaching us what? Sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why the second hadith of man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna is teaching us what? Itba'u Rasul. It's teaching us what? Followership to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And these two things are the shart. These are what? They are the condition for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept any of our act of worship. No matter who you think you are, no matter how pure you think you are, if you act upon any action in Islam without these two things, wallahi summa wallah is not going to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first hadith is what? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّةٍ. That is, you must have sincerity in anything you are doing. In any act of worship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it from you except you have what? You have sincerity in it. Allah said, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. You see, مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. You should have what? Sincerity in whatever you are going to do for Allah. In the deen, in any of your ibadah, your act of worship, have sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second hadith is what? من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. This is what? You must follow the sunnah and the step of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Do not think you know better than the Prophet. Do not think so. You must follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is number one benefit we need to have from this hadith. Number one benefit is this hadith is from among the foundation of Islam. And I mentioned to you that the foundation of Islam in the sight of the ulama are two. إنما الأعمال بنيات, number one. And this hadith teaches us what? Al-ikhlas, that is sincerity for Allah. Hadith number two is من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. This hadith teaches what? It teaches us what? الاتباع للرسول. الاتباع لمن? للرسول. It teaches us what? Followership of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And also among the benefit we need to have from this hadith again, the number two benefit is the ulama rahimahumullah, they said ميزان الأعمال الظاهرة مبني على حديث عائشة. You see, they say what? ميزان الأعمال الظاهرة, that is the mizan, the scale of action that is apparent is built upon what? The hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. What will show that yes, your action is pure and your action is good apparently is for you to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وميزان الأعمال الباطنة مبني على حديث عمر. And the scale of action regarding action that is hidden is built upon what? The hadith of Umar ibn Khattab. إنما الأعمال بنية. These two things are things we need to know. Number one of it is what? You need to have sincerity. This sincerity is gotten from where? The hadith of Umar ibn Khattab, when the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّةٍ. You must have sincerity. And this is what? It shows the scale of your action, your hidden action. It shows what? The scale of your hidden action. The scale of your hidden action. So whenever you have sincerity, it is what? It is our amal qalbi. It's what? An action of the heart. You get it? It's an action of the heart. So this hadith teaches us that what? We must have what? Sincerity and cleanliness in our hidden action with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is, your intention must be pure. So the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab is what? Mizanul a'mal al-batina. It's what? It is used in measuring, or it is a scale used in what? In weighing our action, our hidden actions. Because in issue of intention is issue of the heart. We can't say it apparently, but we know that it's there. This is an action of the heart. So the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab teaches us what? It teaches that we must have sincerity in anything we do regarding our hidden a'mal, that is our hidden action. Which is what? The action of the heart. Why the hadith of the Aisha radiallahu anha? It teaches us what? It teaches us that we must be okay in our apparent what action. That is, we must do it in accordance to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whenever you're out of these two things, it shows that your action is not going to be accepted in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these two hadiths are the main source the scholars rahimahumullah use in proving the shurut qabul al-amal. That is the what? The condition for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your action, your ibadah. So whenever you pray without ikhlas, it's not going to be accepted. And whenever you pray without itba' of the Prophet, it's not going to be accepted as well. Allah ta'ala alam. Now, after that, we are going to look into the explanation of an-niyyah. Because the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّاتٍ. Get it? An-niyyah means what? Al-qasd wal-irada. Al-qasd wal-irada. That is, al-qasd means what? Intention. Wal-irada means what? Want. All these two things, al-qasd wal-irada, are related. Linguistically, they are what? They are related. Want, intention. These two things are from among the action of the heart. This is a niyyah is action of the heart. Niyyah is from the action of the heart. إن النية من أعمال القلوب. Wallahi, indeed, intention is from the action of the heart. Intention is what is from the action of the heart. فلا يشرع النطق بها. And it is not what it is not in line with the Sunnah, and it's not in line with the Sharia of Islam that you should what you should say it out. No, النطق بنية ليس بمشروع. النطق بنية ليس بمشروع. For you to voice out intention is not from the Islamic way of life. It is bid'ah, and it is what it is not known in the Sunnah, and it's not known in Islam also. So you see some people that say in the way to salata mada mada. هذا لا يصح. This is not authentic. It's not correct at all, because intention is from what is from the a'mal al-qulub. Intention is from the action of the heart. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never uh he never do a talaffuz biniyya. He never voice out intention. So for that, you also as a follower of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, you are not expected to voice out intention. Do not say inni nawaytu mada mada. Inni nawaytu salat al-subh. Inni nawaytu salat al-asr. Hada la yasih. Hada bid'ah. These are issue of what of innovation. They are not known in Islam. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never did such. Now, looking into the benefit we are to have from the explanation of intention, one of it is we have two faida. لنية فائدتان. لنية فائدتان. لنية فائدتان.